Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Friday morning, the 19th of January, and I hope I'm not triggering anybody by walking through a wheat field this morning. It's not recognisable as wheat, it just looks like lines of grass, so I don't think it's too triggering, is it? But after the events of the last few hours, well, I'm still processing what went down yesterday in the Delphi case. I've listened to the Supreme Court oral arguments hearing now 3 times. So I heard things that I didn't hear the first time round, or at least, digested things better from the oral arguments. But it's almost a moot point now. Going through the oral arguments hearing again seems moot because they've already ruled. They've already ruled that Brad Rosie and Andrew Baldwin are back. It took them apparently 3 hours and 45 minutes to come back with a decision, and that includes typing up the little report. But we're going to get a bigger written report, so presumably that'll take a little while to come out. Meanwhile, Slick Nick McClelland, the prosecutor, half an hour apparently before the oral arguments began, submitted upgraded charges for Richard Allen, claiming that amended charges would more accurately align the charging information with the case's discovery and probable cause affidavit. Now, I'm not going to go through the probable cause affidavit again because I've done that many times pulled out things from the PCA. The discovery, Nick claimed back in October that he'd given everything to the defence team. The original deadline for discovery to go to the defence was November the 1st. Obviously, that became irrelevant when Francis Gull erroneously, mistakenly, got rid of Rosie and Baldwin. 70 days, Nick. Are you prepared to fight these upgraded charges to murder 1 and separate counts of kidnapping? Are you prepared for that, Nick? Or have you bitten off more than you can chew? You do have help now, don't you? James Luttrell, who came on board. You do have his help now. But, yeah, once Rick exercises his right to a speedy trial, 70 days, if that's done within the next few days, then you're looking at a trial in early April. That'll be the same time as Chad Daybell, wouldn't it? But it concerns me for Nick. It concerns me. Not a lot, but yeah. Nick should be concerned. The probable cause affidavit wasn't that strong in pinning Richard Allen to the crime at all. Yeah, there's the ballistics evidence, but with no chain of custody and it being an unspent round and the science being less clear on matching an unspent round with a particular weapon than a spent one. We also know from the depositions last August that Tony Liggett, the sheriff, testified under oath that there's no DNA linking Richard Allen to the crime scene. He's not aware of anything that links him to the crime through his phone, computers, or electronics, and that he's unaware of any evidence that links Richard Allen to any weird religious cult group. Jerry Holman from the Indiana State Police also testified there's no DNA linking Richard Allen to the crime scene, no data from his phone that connects him to the murders, no data extracted from Libby's phone that connects him to the murders, no evidence that Rick is or was connected to any of the suspects in the case, the other suspects, the Ordinance. No evidence found on social media that connects Richard Allen to the murders, no evidence extracted from Richard Allen's computers that connects him to the murders, no fingerprint evidence that connects him to the murders. So it begs the question, what evidence do they actually have? Now, there might be other evidence in the discovery that the defence hasn't mentioned here. This is from page 129, I think, of the memorandum, that it may well be that there's other evidence in the discovery that they omitted to mention here, because that's their document, obviously, and they're not going to put incriminating evidence in their document, are they? So what might that be? What about Richard's car? So no, we're not saying that it was his car at 120, 126, 127 on County Road North going towards the CPS building. I mean, we don't actually know if he parked at the CPS building, because the witnesses give all sorts of different cars. We don't know. But we don't know that it's his car caught on the Hoosier Harvester camera. We don't know that there's surveillance evidence. If it is, it's not clear. The witness evidence wasn't clear. So what about things like, the black box in that Ford Focus? Would there be still information stored, from the dim and distant past, going back to 2017? Would they be able to get information from 5 years previous? I don't know the answer to that. That would give a time of where that car was on that fateful day of February 13th, 2017. It might clarify the time he was there heading towards the trails and heading back, because if that black box could show a time of around, 1:30 or just before, and then leaving at 4ish, well, that would certainly back up the surveillance evidence and the witnesses who claim to have seen a car somewhat like a black Ford Focus, although I don't think that the 1965 Comet looks much like one. But otherwise, there would be no evidence to link him whatsoever 100% on the trails at the time of the murders. We don't even have the testimony that Richard gave in 2017, do we? Desperate Dan, who took Richard Allen's statement back in 2017, didn't record the interview. He said, "I checked my audio recordings and cannot find one for him. I will keep looking because I'm sure I recorded every interaction related to my assigned leads." So if it's true that Richard Allen told Dan Dullard back in 2017 that he was on the trails between 1:30 and 3:30, and he's now disputing it, well, there's no actual evidence, recorded evidence of Richard Allen saying what time he was on the trails. So there'll be no way for a jury to determine whether the 2017 information is true or whether the 2022 information is true when he said he left about 1:30. Because, the witness accounts are very sketchy, very conflicting, both of the description of Bridge Guy, who has to be Richard Allen now, because Richard Allen had to kidnap the girls and take them down the hill, across the creek and murder them. That's what Nick thinks he can claim. So what else is there? The confession from April 2023? We don't actually know what Richard said. We don't know how much duress he was under, how stressed he felt. People who are unfairly detained in highly stressful situations sometimes make false confessions, so couldn't make very much of that. With no other evidence to link him to the crime scene at all, well, that's not good enough, in my opinion, if I was a jury member. What else might there be? I mean, it would be really bombshell, upgraded evidence, upgraded from the basic information they had when they arrested him. If they could find evidence of the victim's blood in his vehicle or on clothes that they took from his house, that would be strong evidence to link him, not to the crime scene, but indirectly, if there was blood in his vehicle or blood on clothes that he might have saved from the victims, that would be strong evidence. Now, we don't know what the results were of anything that was taken from his house. All we know is there was no DNA matching him to the crime scene. So it's possible that there could be stuff in the discovery that the defence didn't mention because it's incriminating. But potentially, we're going to find out sooner rather than later, aren't we? Once Rick puts in there his right to a speedy trial within 70 days. Going to be pulling some all-nighters, Nick, aren't you? Yeah, all right. Okay, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.